Time is running out in Austin for an initiative Governor Abbott declared a priority for the session's school vouchers. Today is the deadline for the House to advance legislation. Joining us this morning is Stephanie Boyce, Executive Director of the Freshman Classroom, to talk more about this. Good morning, Stephanie.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing good. Glad to have you with us this morning. Yes. So I want to ask you, how do school vouchers work, and why is this school choice such a hot topic during our legislative session right now?
Yeah, it's a lot, Suzanne. First, thank you for having me. I appreciate you taking time to really dive into the topic. So when school vouchers, we see over and over that what happens is we get this raging debate on both sides of the aisle. We have people that are saying, on one hand, I want the right to choose where my student is going to go to school, make sure they have the most opportunities. And on the other hand, a group of people that say, we have to be sure that we're making the best decision for all students. In the middle, we have some people that are making some political decisions, and then so we see this big, massive uprising this year in the legislative session. And so really the way that it works is that for some people, they want to be able to have a voucher that works like a scholarship, where they can say, I have a certain amount of money in which I can choose to send my child to a private school of my choosing. And so that's why you keep hearing this this phrase, school choice, school choice.
Yes.
So people want to make sure they have that option, either to send them to a school, or sometimes they could use that same voucher for things like tutoring services or things that they want to use to enrich their child's learning experience.
Interesting. Okay, so what are the pros? And this is according to people who support this.
Right. So for people that support it, first of all, it's just that first option of having a choice, especially when you think about some people say, my child might have some special interest. I want to be able to choose to send them to a private school where they're going to nurture the special interest or whatever is happening with their child. And so that's very important to some people. But one of the other pros is that if you're in an area where you feel like the schools are failing, those parents are particularly saying, I don't have time for y'all to figure out how to fix this thing that's going on with the particular school in my neighborhood. Give me the money and let me take my kid to a place where the schools are better and they can get a better learning experience.
Gives them the decision to take them where they want to go. What about the cons from critics? What are they saying?
Well, the biggest thing is always the fact that you're going to be taking taxpayer dollars and then funneling them to private schools, many of which are associated with religious organizations. And so when we talk about the separation of church and state, that's a big issue for a lot of people, especially when the schools are already underfunded, and we're always talking about how we need to be giving more money to the schools so that they can make the learning better for all students.
Gosh, so many different sides to all this. What can parents and educators do to make sure their voices are heard on school choice? Yeah,
I say the first thing that you can do is do your research. Do your research for yourself. What you will find when you start to do research with information that's readily available is that in other states where they've gone through with these types of voucher programs, you have to look at what the data would suggest in terms of the effectiveness. Did students that get these vouchers and go to the private schools end up miraculously turning around and having a better educational experience? The research does not support that. And so what you see is, if vouchers were to be granted tomorrow, let's say, Suzanne, and we gave every student a voucher to go wherever they wanted to go, the private schools don't have the capacity. And I'm saying this because I'm uniquely positioned. I was an administrator at the public school level and the private school level. And so I've worked on both sides. And I understand when it comes to parents, they love their kids. They want them to have the most opportunities, right? But we have to consider, just like if it was a car, and I said, everybody go get a free car, there wouldn't be enough cars. Right? It's a matter of supply and demand. So we have to be mindful about what's going to be best for all students. And that for parents, they got to do their research.
Research is key in all
this. They got to do their research and then contact their representatives to let them know, based on their research, what it is they want them to be doing around voting for these bills.
Perfect. Stephanie, we appreciate your time. Thank you. And to learn more about what Stephanie does, you can go to freshmanclassroom.com, thefreshmanclassroom.com. And you can also find her Instagram at Dr. SR Boyce and on Facebook at Stephanie Boyce.